point line. Wisconsin has now lost 7 scholarship players from this past year's team, including 4 to the portal. Turning to the Bucks, they're in Brooklyn to face the Nets tonight. Milwaukee has just 4 games left this season. Meanwhile, the Wisconsin football team was back in the field for practice number 5 of spring this morning. Solid day for new starting quarterback Colton Joseph, the Old Dominion transfer, taking over an offense that averages 12.5 points per game last season. But he said what happened then doesn't matter now.
Well, I really think Coach Grimes, he has a really good system for me that I could thrive in. And, I don't really like to think about what happens in the past. That's, that already happened. I'm really here to show what I could do in the future and show what we're building towards and what plays we can make in the offense that we're going to build here.
Badgers back in the field for practice on Thursday morning, and we're now just 16 days from the NFL draft getting going in Pittsburgh.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Well, the Brewers going for their 4th straight series win to open the season tonight to take on the Red Sox in Boston. Milwaukee took the opener last night 8-6. 2 teams will close out the series tomorrow. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
So, yeah.
Did he get him again? Yeah, he did. He hit him again.
6th.
For the 6th time, his brother comes out and walks him up the first base line. And again, there is history between the Red Sox, Contreras, and the Milwaukee Brewers that goes beyond all the hit batsmen.
Well, there's been a few of them that they've had altercations before when he's with St. Louis. Now, Murph wants to know, but did the ball even hit him? Looked like it just barely got him on the hand. Contreras more reacting, just up and in. And listen, the guy's hit you 6 times in your career. Eventually, you're tired of it.
He's done a great job. I mean, he's pitched for a really long time. I mean, we've seen that skid for the last 10 years. It's nothing new, not surprising. You just keep it rolling.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Some audio from last night's game. Wilson Contreras, imagine that's been hit by another pitch, and the Brewers were involved. He's at the Cubs forever with the Cardinals. Now he's at the Red Sox. The Brewers almost never play the Red Sox, and in the first game against the Red Sox, there's some sort of an incident. Now, the Brewers won the game. I think the game itself was very interesting. That felt like a pre-pitch clock game. That game took forever last night, and a lot of things that we can talk about and break down, but I think the most interesting part of last night's game, or the most entertaining, the most charged up emotional part of the game, was certainly the exchange between Wilson Contreras and the Brewers. And he was hit by a pitch. Again, what's new? So we'll start there. This is the Wisco Sports Show. My name is Grant Bills. Thank you for being here. A lot of other things tonight as well. We're not just going to hit the Brewers. Zach Heilprin going to be here at 4:35. I want to talk about the news of the transfer portal. Blackwell, I know we hit that a lot the last 2 nights, but I want to pick Zach's brain a little bit. He's our sports director here at WOZN in Madison, and you hear him on The Camp and The Swing, his podcast covering the Badgers at a higher level than anybody. So he'll be here in about a half hour. I also want to ask about the national championship game last night, because I do think Michigan winning gives us some interesting angles from which to attack and to discuss college basketball. So we'll do that. There's also a massive story out today from Shams that's really well sourced about things that have gone on between Giannis and the Bucks and Doc Rivers and ownership. There's just a lot of nuggets in there that we can pick at and talk about. And I'll say as a precursor, before we get to the Bucks, we'll probably do that in hour number 2. I know not all of you find the Bucks to be the most interesting team in the state. I haven't watched an interesting Bucks basketball game probably since like the first week of this season. We haven't covered them a whole lot. I want to talk about the Bucks tonight because there's a massive superstar, and there's a divide, and ownership is involved, and there's some wild stories being shared about the coach. Like it's a team ownership front office story as much as an actual basketball story. So if I didn't find it interesting, we just ignore it, because the Bucks mostly this year have not been interesting. But that's coming up. We'll get to that in the second hour of the show. But like I said, We'll begin with the Brewers, and I'll take your calls, 608-321-1670. You can watch the show and comment along on the Wisco Sports Zone app and on YouTube, the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills. And it streams on my Twitter as well, so you can throw me a follow if you'd like to, at Wisco Grant. Contreras is just such a pill. And the Brewers have hit him a ton. I think some of that, I think there's many reasons. I think there might be some slight, what's the word, attitude or some, like, put it this way. The Brewers have maybe hit Wilson Contreras once or twice over the course of his career because screw that guy, F him. Like, if you were to break down every time he's been hit by a pitch, I think there may be, I'm not discounting the possibility that 1 or 2 or 3 of those times haven't been in a game where the pitcher's like, screw this guy. He deserves it because no one likes him. No one likes him. Really, all around baseball, no one likes him. I've talked to Cubs people who's like, yeah, dude won a World Series here, and most of the people didn't like him. He's a pill. So of all of the, and I don't know the exact number again. I know it was being shared, the amount of times that the Brewers have hit Wilson Contreras in his career. Let's say they've hit him 30 times, just for a nice round number. I'm not discounting the possibility that 2 or 3 or 4 of those times have been a Brewers pitcher having an annoying night, sick of this guy, and they fall behind in the count. Screw it, I'm just going to hit him. That might be, sure. I'm not discounting that possibility at all. But Brewers fans, you've known this for a while, dating back to his time with the Cubs. Wilson Contreras is just a guy who stands really close to the plate. He really, really, really crowds the strike elbow guard, as a lot of hitters do. I think a lot of hitters in 2026, they got the elbow pad and they got the leg pad and they got the helmet flap and the hand guard. Like, taking a fastball that's just a little off the plate, off that elbow pad, it's not really that big of a deal. Gets me a free base. Might get me a couple of passes over the course of a season. I think a lot of hitters are just more comfortable crowding the plate maybe than they used to be because the equipment's gotten better and it's just a little bit more normalized wearing that pad, which is a good thing because it probably results in fewer wrist and elbow injuries. And certainly if the ball's up around the face, a lot of guys wear that chin flap, that cheek flap that protects their face. But that's good. Wilson Contreras certainly crowds the plate. And you can even find clips of him like sticking his wing out and trying to take a ball off the elbow. Like, it's pretty transparent. I don't mind a player crowding the plate at all. I don't mind it. Hey, man, if you're willing to wear 94 miles an hour, even if it's off an elbow guard, right? Even if it's off a pad, that's going to sting. So if you're willing to stick your arm out there and take a fastball to get to first base, go nuts, man. That's your prerogative. I think it's kind of corny. I think it's, all right, whatever. All right, take your base. But you're more than welcome to do that. I don't think you should be able to stick your elbow out or your hands out and take a plate that's only a couple of inches, take a ball that's only a couple inches off the plate, and then throw a temper tantrum, which is what Wilson Contreras did last night, and he's done it before. I don't really love that. I want to know what last night's game would have looked like had Mizorowski been on the mound. Who, it's funny, Jacob Mizorowski, he loves his Pokemon cards. I think Jacob Mizorowski's kind of a cocky dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know that last night would have gone the way that it did if Jacob Mizorowski's on the mound. Of course, he's pitching tonight. If Abner Uribe's on the mound, he's been a hothead before. He had a run in, I think, his first year before he got injured and missed the rest of the year. He had a little bit of a run in, was it Jose Siri? I think, who's with the Rays at the time. Like, Uribe will mix it up. McGill seems like a guy who would maybe mix it up. Woodruff was the perfect guy to have on the mound in that situation, to not let it escalate and to not let it get worse, to not have the benches clear. This is Brandon Woodruff with Adam McCalvy after the game, and you hear in Woodruff's answer here is like, okay, thank God you were the guy on the mound when this happened.
Before as a group, how do you handle the emotion in the middle inning there?
What you're referencing?
The stuff with the Wilson.
Yeah, I mean we've been through that. This is 9 years for me, and it seems like every year. Just he's trying to play a game and he's trying to get his side fired up, which is fine. But once I knew what was going on, I wasn't going to let it affect me on the mound. I knew I had a job to do. I knew pitch count was still down, even though I'd given up a few runs, and I knew the bullpen was short, so I needed to go out there and just keep competing and just try to give some length there. So I was able to, get right back to pitching, and that's wasn't anything too big.
So I think Woodruff's right in that Contreras doing that, he's probably trying to fire his team up. Now, again, I think it's a really stupid loser way to do it. If you want to get hit by a pitch, all right. If you want to stick your wing out there, and he does that a lot, he's always done that a lot. I think then throwing a temper tantrum and, okay, all right, I think it's corny, I think it's dumb, but I genuinely was. I think he was trying to fire his team up. I could have gone without him then trying to cleat David Hamilton at second base, which got a little ridiculous. And then he goes to the dugout and is barking and barking and barking. And back to my point about, I would have liked to see, well, I don't know that I would have liked to see it. I think it goes differently with Mizorowski on the mound compared to Woodruff. And Tyler in Massachusetts, Wisco Greaves on the live stream. He was at the game at Fenway, says, I saw Miz on the top step and he was yelling at Wilson during the brouhaha last night. Exactly. Like, I think if Miz is out there, that goes differently. Or Uribe or McGill. I think Woodruff was probably the right guy to have out there in that situation. You could pick somebody because he wasn't going to let it escalate. To talk about the other elements of last night's game outside of the Contreras situation, a really impressive start from Brandon Woodruff, and I enjoyed very little of it. I joked a lot last year about Freddie Peralta. Like, oh, Freddie Peralta, 5 2/3, 2 runs, nice quality start. Hated every second of it. You know what I mean? Like, remember this last year when Freddie Peralta, like some of those innings, it was like pulling teeth. It's like, yeah, all right, quality start. Hated watching every second of it. Felt like a labor of love. Felt like a 9 to 5 the entire time. Watching Woodruff pitch last night for a lot of those innings just felt like, oh my God. But I look up at the end, he gets through 6 innings or 5 2/3 or whatever it was. That is I'm not trying to glaze him because he wasn't awesome. He didn't get a lot of whiffs. He got snake bit on some batted ball luck a little bit. As a Brewers fan, I'm not really someone who's going to complain about batted ball luck when it goes against my team because I think the Brewers rely on batted ball luck quite a bit when they're at the plate. So I try to not bellyache too much about bad luck on ball and play. I think Brandon Woodruff, if he just gets some more whiffs, like get some more swings and misses, and then we're not talking about this. So I don't think Woodruff was awesome, but Woodruff gutting it out and filling those innings. This is Brandon Woodruff one more time, and you can hear in his answer, he's like, yeah, Contreras was firing it up, but I had to get it back on track because our bullpen's been depleted. We had a double header Saturday, and I needed to give us some length. This is Woodruff.
How do you handle the emotion in the middle inning there?
What you're referencing?
The stuff with the Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, we've been through that. This is 9 years for me. And it seems like every year, just, he's trying to play a game and he's trying to get, his side fired up, which is fine. But, once I knew what was going on, I wasn't going to let it affect me on the mound. I knew I had a job to do. I knew pitch count was still down, even though I'd given up a few runs and I knew the bullpen was short. So I needed to go out there and just keep competing and just try to give some length there. So I was able to, get right back to pitching. And, yeah, I mean, wasn't anything too big.
I think Woodruff, again, in that moment, understands his assignment. Like, all right, so Contreras is doing this. They got runners on. Okay, yeah. But I got to realize here that Contreras incident was in the third? I think second or third. Like, I got to get through 5. So how do I got to deal with this. And this is a thing that's going on. But how do I take a little bit of a deep breath and remember that our bullpen's shorthanded. Jared Koenig just went on the IL. We had a doubleheader 48 hours ago. The team needs some length here. So for him to put that to the side on a night where he didn't have it, he wasn't missing a ton of bats. And even in the 5th and into the 6th when he was still retiring guys, it was the contact. That short inning in the 5th, he just got a couple pop-ups, I think. It was 2 or 3 pop-ups, maybe a ground ball, but it was quick, like an 8 or 9 pitch inning. So Woodruff to realize, okay, so this is going on. And yeah, this is something that's going on. Like there's a thing. Contreras is yelling from the dugout and Miz is yelling from the dugout and Murphy's coming out here and the umps kept talking about stuff. I was listening on the radio at this point and there was the longest delay. And Grindle kept pointing out, and now the umps are talking about this and that. And I don't know what the umps were really talking about. I don't know if there was ever a formal warning. I don't think there was ever a review of the play at second where he cleated Hamilton. I know the Brewers challenged whether or not he was hit by a pitch. I don't think he was. And if he was, it was, I guess it maybe hit the hair on his knuckle. But Woodruff to play through all of that and to realize, okay, yeah, but I got to get into the 5th or the 6th because the team really needs that tonight. Again, I don't know if they get that from Miz, or I don't know if the game returns to a normal state if Uribe's out there. Now, Uribe could have matured a lot over the last 2 years, but the last time Uribe was on the mound when there was an incident like that dude was ready to throw actual punches. I think it was Jose Siri, the Rays, a couple of years ago. Offensively, kind of a hilarious night. And as I talked about last night after 5 o'clock, like the Red Sox and the Brewers are a hilarious matchup because the Brewers put the ball in play and scrap and fight and claw with 2 outs and 2 strikes. And they do all the little things. They field and they run. And the Red Sox do none of the little things. Like they don't field and they don't run the bases well. And they don't do all the so this is why this is a hilarious matchup. And that's why at a certain point, the Brewers had 16 consecutive batters last night where the ball didn't leave the infield. And they scored 3 runs. They almost batted around, I think, was it in the 3rd or the 4th? It was at the top of the 4th. The ball never left the infield, and there was a double play that ended the inning. And they still, again, almost batted around, which is why this matchup is so funny. I'm excited to watch it a little bit more tonight, although, you know, if Crochet and Miz are both on their stuff, this game's probably going to look a lot more like a normal 2026 baseball game. Last night looked like a pre-pitch clock era baseball game. I think tonight might move a little bit quicker, unless Miz is off his game or Crochet didn't exactly have his best stuff in his last appearance either. His ball just, the velocity and the break, it just wasn't there. So I guess we'll see what shape Miz and Crochet are in. I know it's cold. I don't know if that favors, I don't know if that makes life harder for the pitchers. The ball certainly isn't going to fly the same way. And Wrigley, especially to center and right, the ballpark's just so big. So I don't know how the game will look. I would imagine it'll look different tonight than it did last night. All of the Brewers hitters got at least 4 at bats, except for Hamilton. Mitchell got 5. Mitchell had 3 of the worst strikeouts you'll ever see. And then he gets the single to score 2 runs to put them up in the 8th inning. And what's funny about that moment, we've been talking about Garrett Mitchell this week. What's funny about that moment is you might be tempted to say, well, that's why you live with the strikeouts, right? That's Garrett Mitchell. He's going to have some bad at-bats, but then he'll give you a great one. And I don't even know that 8th inning at-bat from Garrett Mitchell was an example of anything. I think that last night's game from Garrett Mitchell was an example of, okay, if you give any hitter 5 at-bats in a game, which is what they all got last night, like one of them's probably going to be put in play. So I still don't know that last night gives us much to do and much to learn about Garrett Mitchell. I'm not sure. So my thoughts on last night between Garrett Mitchell, the Contreras situation, which I hope the Brewers don't hit him tonight. I hope we just have a normal baseball game because the Brewers are better. They should win this game. The Red Sox are in shambles. They should continue to play well. I don't need more drama invited. I don't need it. It doesn't benefit the Brewers. So I see a lot of people like, they should hit Contreras tonight. Or they could just play well and win and continue to win games, which is probably, I know it's boring. I'm sorry if I keep saying Wrigley. I mean Fenway. It's an uncommon opponent. Thank you for the correction, Kinger. Thank you. I'll take your calls on the Brewers on the other side, and then we're going to talk Badgers, transfer portal, and college basketball. Zach Heilprin will be here at 4:35, but your calls in the interim after this 3-minute break, 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
It's not just a hit by pitch. That's the 24th time that they hit me in my career, 24th. And that's the 6th time they hit me. And they always say, I'm not trying to hit you. That get old. So next time they hit me again, I'm going to take one of them out. That's what happened. That's a message. That's a message.
Not even sure he hit him, and the pitch wasn't even that inside.
And if it hit him, it hit his little hand protector.
It's a pitch move by Contreras. And he has a meltdown about it, both in-game and post-game. Now, yesterday I was asking, why is it that we haven't heard from Wilson Contreras? Why is it that he goes 0 for 4 and he's not to be heard from? He's got nothing to say and he ducks the media. Oh, I know now. He's a clown. Yeah. Oh, I get it. He's a bozo. Yeah. He's Bozo the clown. Put him on a slide and that's why we didn't hear from him. Because the team is in a... They got good leaders on the team is in a total tailspin, and he's consumed. And I know he had a good night. He was their best hitter in the lineup and went 3 for 3, and he had a garbage time home run. He is consumed with this nonsense of a pitch that I don't think hit him, and he's ready to go into the clubhouse post-game, and he's ready to talk last night. They're 2-7 at this point, and it now loads the bases against a good opponent. And, okay, you get to first, cool down at first, and continue playing the game. But he couldn't. He loses his mind at first base. He's out at second. He goes back to the dugout, and he still won't shut up. Nope. Because he cares more about this stupidity than he does about his team sucking as much as they have. So that's why you didn't hear from Wilson Contreras over the weekend. And that's why Wilson Contreras is not going to be counted on to be a leader, because he isn't one. Yeah, but this is one of the guys we were pointing at, saying self-centered clown, 33-year-old child that they went and acquired in the offseason.
See, this is why nobody's doing it like me. No one's combing through hours of Boston sports radio to find this audio. Those are Boston guys. That's Zolak and Bertrand. That's their player. Scott Zolak. It's a bitch move from Contreras. It is. The Brewers have hit him a bunch. So I get his frustration a little bit. If you get it in the head or they throw it behind you, okay, I guess throw a temper tantrum if you want. I get he's trying to fire up his team. I don't think that ball hit him. And then to make a scene and to slide cleats off, it's like, dude, just take it easy. That's why no one likes you. 608-321-1670. It's Talk Brewers, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
I feel like Brandon Lockridge tonight, batting leadoff.
Yeah, cone roller. What is tonight's lineup, by the way? Is Terang's off, Yelich is off, at least at the start. What is tonight's lineup, Cone?
Yeah, I was going to ask, can we do a wellness check on Chuck Freeman? I just imagine he is fuming looking at this lineup.
He's smashing. It's a Sunday lineup on a Tuesday.
A random Tuesday at that.
Lockridge, Contreras, Regnifo, Sanchez, Ortiz, Matos, Frelick, Perkins, Hamilton. Oh, my God, dude. All right, whatever. Watch him score 11 runs.
Lockridge and Perkins should never be in the same starting lineup.
I like Lockridge more.
I feel really good about Gary Sanchez against the lefty.
Yeah, Gary Sanchez is hit. They should have Gary Sanchez hit leadoff because what's his nuts? Garrett Crochet throws a first pitch strike every game. Remember, and last year Churio had a knock off him, and then after the game, Garrett Crochet said, "I'm going to do that every game. That's just what I do." So just hit Sanchez leadoff and see if he can steal a home run off him.
I don't hate that, and I disagree with you about they should take Contreras tonight.
Really?
The only thing is I don't feel great about any Brewer to actually fight him. They're a little small. So, like, can we sign Martin Maldonado to like a 1-game contract just to kind of be our ringer?
Dude, like the Pacers signed James Johnson or whatever his name is. That's why I was wondering to see if Gary Sanchez would be catching tonight. Now he's playing first, which makes sense against the lefty instead of Jake Bauers, so I get that. That's the dude. It's like, okay, I want that guy in the field somewhere. If there needs to be, if a guy needs to get in the middle, I'm just glad Gary Sanchez is playing.
And you never know, like Miz is pitching, it might not even be intentional. You know, one can get away from Miz and we wouldn't be too surprised.
Well, that's the thing. Sticking your arm in there against Mr. 89 mile an hour Brandon Woodruff ain't a big deal. Like, I guess if Wilson Contreras wants to stick his elbow in there and take 101 off the funny bone, like, go ahead, man. Earn your way to first, I guess. It's a little different tonight.
Yeah, I saw a montage yesterday of all the times Woodruff has hit Contreras, and like a lot of those pitches were 96, 97 miles an hour, and it's just sad to see the current state of Woody's arm.
He made it through last night. I'll give him credit. It was frustrating to watch, but getting into the sixth is that was not nothing from him. So I was happy to see that last night. Anything else, Cone? I want to take one more call. You think they should hit him tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, why not? We're 10 games into the season. Like, let's spice it up a little bit.
All right. I can get down on that. Kona, hang around. We'll talk about your boy, Alexis Bielauskas, hitting the transfer portal. Zach Heilprin here in about 10 minutes. That's probably nothing. I kind of like Bielauskas, though. A little bit of a bummer. Let's take one more call here in the meantime. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Coach Freed here.
Hey, Coach. How's it going?
It's going well, but if my life depended on Roman Anthony throwing out a runner or Tiger Woods driving me home safely, I think I'd save everyone the time and just take my own life.
Yeah, I can't believe how bad that throw was. In the moment, I'm like, oh, throws offline. Good, because they only needed the one run to take the lead. And then I watched the replay. I'm like, wait, that would have been a horrible throw if you were trying to throw home. That would have been a horrible throw if you're trying to hit the cutoff man. That, like, in no realm was that even close to being an okay throw, let alone a good one.
And I know you said it yesterday, but that's one of the things the Brewers just do well, and it adds up and it wins the ball games. And you got Yelich showing some emotion yesterday, more so all year. How about that?
I like when Yelich gets fired up, Coach. I feel some things when he starts doing that.
It fires me up, makes me feel something.
All right. Do you think Miz will hit him tonight or no?
I really hope so. I hope he gets 103 to the ear. I hope Sanchez comes in and just pummels him from first base.
I just feel like, and Coach, I got to run. I'm sorry. We'll talk again soon. I just feel like that's what he wants. He wants to be able to piss and moan that the Brewers keep hitting him. Kate is in here. Kate, grab the microphone. It's nice to see you, Kate.
Hey.
You think you were giving me guff over that last break that I'm not giving the people what they want, that the Brewers should hit Contreras tonight?
Yes, I think it's just absolutely dumb that you don't think we should hit him. This is why my aunt told me she was surprised that I was even friends with you.
Because of takes like this?
Yes. You're just being conservative, Grant. And in a so non-political way, so please don't take it that way.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna dump all over Nolan Winter in the next segment. So I'm not that, like.
I mean, I get it, but
does your aunt think I have boring takes?
I think that your take is like so. Oh well, the Brewers, they should just play baseball.
That's true.
How many baseball games are they going to play this year?
That's true. I just feel like
one out of 150.
Contreras is acting this way because the Brewers always hit him. So if you
because
hit
it's
him again,
hilarious.
It is kind of.
I mean, they probably are like, this guy sucks. Okay, and
last night, though.
I'm bored.
You're bored.
No. As a player, this is what you're thinking. This guy sucks. I'm bored of my 150 games. I want to spice this up. I'm a rage baiter to my core.
Rage baiting. Look.
And I'm not saying Woodruff tried to rage bait yesterday. I don't even think he hit him.
I mean, if they're up 8-0, we can talk. You know what I mean? If they're up 8-0 and you want to hit them just for the vibe, just for that reason,
no.
sure.
I think they hit him the first at bat. And I genuinely think that the guys in the locker room right now are like hyping Miz up like he's a 13-year-old pitcher about to go against his new, like, someone's ex-girlfriend's new whatever.
Miz is going to get his ass kicked if he does that.
Well, I don't take. Somebody texted in this morning and said, "Who would you take, Austin or Miz in a fight?" And I had to think about it.
I might do what Coach Freed. I might just take my own life rather than watch that. Tiger Woods to get home safely, or I think it's
Roman Anthony to throw him out. Yeah.
throw a runner at home place. All right, Zach Heilprin's gonna be here next. We can talk about your guy Nolan Winter, your guy John Blackwell.
I don't even know why we're calling both of them my guys.
Okay, all right. We'll talk with Zach Heilprin next. Transfer portal news and developments, and I want to talk about the national championship game with Michigan. Zach will be here next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, welcome back. We'll get back to the Brewers, and we can go back to arguing about whether or not they should hit Wilson Contreras tonight. I guess I'm mature. I would just like them to win the game. Kate's in here saying, so dumb. All right, no. You guys, they should hit him every time, and everyone should get ejected, and that would be great. That's exactly what we should have today. We'll get back to the baseball. But in the meantime, there's a lot going on in the world of college sports this week. The Badgers had practice number 5 of spring practice today. You can hear about that on Zach Heilprin's latest episode of The Camp. He's joining us now. But Zach, if you wouldn't mind, I'd prefer to stick with the transfer portal. Maybe talk about the national championship game last night. First of all, you look well. Nice to see you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for inviting. Thank you.
Of course, Zach, you have an open invite. So Blackwell's the number one story. I want to ask about Bielauskas. Let's do Blackwell first. He's going to make more money elsewhere. That's bullet point number 1. Are there any other bullet points that you, very close to the program, very plugged in, that we should know? Any other details of the situation that might help us understand why this happened?
I mean, this was always headed this. It felt like it was always headed this way, even after he, went through the draft process last year and said he wouldn't go anywhere other than Wisconsin when he's coming back. I mean, you could kind of feel it during the year. There was just something off, and it was a tough year for him mentally. I don't know that it was tough enough not to tip somebody at a particular place, but no, it's just the world we live in, right? Like he wants to make more money, and he's going to, and he said he wants to go play for a team that has a chance to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Now, I would say that he's part of the problem as to why they have not made a deep run into the NCAA tournament the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Had 20 in the first half against High Point and had 2 in the second half. Okay, who do you blame for that? I feel like John Blackwell has to take a little blame of that. I hear Indiana's in the mix. Indiana is not one of those teams. I think what is going to come out of this is we're going to see he got a whole lot of money to go somewhere else. And if he wants to go play for a national championship, he needs to play on a team that has him as their second or third best player. And
yeah, I thought that was a fake quote, by the way. I saw that quote going around that he wants to go somewhere that can win a championship and make a deep run. Like, maybe he didn't actually say that. Or maybe he did. Maybe I misread. I don't know. I also think I think that's just something you say, right? You can't come out and say, I'm going to go make more money. So you have to say, well, I want to go on a deep run. I want to do these other things. So I
just miss that completely? I thought that was I thought that was in his message.
His statement was so long. I'm not reading all of that. And the letters were so small in his graphic.
And it was, if you put that thing into the AI recognizer, like what's the percentage of that? That thing's got to be like 85 or 90%.
I would think. So yeah. I wish John Blackwell the best. Actually, I don't. I wish him nothing. I don't wish him bad. I don't wish him good. I just go play elsewhere. You know what I mean? Let's the matter of his legacy.
Can I ask? I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you about that because the tweet was hashtag essentially Badger for life.
Yeah.
And some people took significant issue with that, and I kind of agree with them.
I mean, what is it? How do you say Badger for life when you're going to be somewhere else? It's such an oxymoron.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. What I said last night is I had a lot of calls and texts, very productive show, of people saying, well, this will hurt his legacy. And my point was, I don't think this hurts his legacy because I don't think his legacy was all that special to begin with. He was a nice player for 3 years, and the team never went on a run or did anything of significance in the postseason. And my example was, if he led the team to the Final Four last year in his second year and then dipped, I think he has a great legacy, actually. I don't think in this version, in this iteration of college ball, I don't think you need to be in one place for 4 or 5 years to have a great legacy. I don't think it's the fact that he's leaving. It's that he didn't do enough while he was here.
So he's going to finish, I think he finished 11th or 12th all time in scoring at Wisconsin. He could have potentially challenged for the all-time leading scorer if he had stayed. So there's some of that. I think he's 11th or 12th in 3-pointers made. Like there is stuff that he did that would leave him in people's minds. There's for sure, but this is going to certainly color it, and it should. He is not staying at Wisconsin. Now, again, I don't blame him. He's going to go get money somewhere else. But the thing that comes along with Badger for life is you actually have to be a Badger for life. Like if you, and I know like the idea of like starting one place and finishing another. Chucky Hepburn was a very good player for Wisconsin, but no one talks about him when you talk about the best point guards at Wisconsin in Wisconsin history, even though he was very, very good. I'm interested to see what happens in 2022 when they welcome back the 10-year anniversary of the 2022, Big Ten championship team. Is he going to be on it? Is he going to be there? Like that's the type of stuff. That's the legacy down the road that I think people will talk about. But with John Blackwell, nice player for 3 years. He's never going to be talked about as one of the best players that played at Wisconsin. He's not going to be a guy that you're thinking about. The legacy left by guys that win and stay all 4 years are the ones that we remember. Josh Gossard, Bronson Koenig, Nigel Hayes, Frank Kaminsky, like all these guys who were part of very good teams that went very far and stayed all 4 years are talked about in a different breath than John Blackwell ever will be or Chucky Hepburn ever will be.
And I guess my point, and I'm not denying that staying the whole time means something. I guess my point with all those guys, we remember them because they went on deep runs, right?
Would you like me to go back? I can go back further if you'd like me to. And talk about the guys that have left legacies that maybe didn't go on deep runs.
Okay, well, who comes to mind? I mean, this isn't
Jordan
that
Taylor.
important.
Jordan Taylor comes to mind immediately, right?
I don't think of him the same way, but yeah.
You don't think he's one of the best? He is. When you talk about best point guards in Wisconsin history, he's up there. Tracy Webster, one of the best point guards, never made a deep run in the NCAA tournament, was part of a team that turned the Wisconsin around, obviously. But yeah, no, Jordan Taylor, I would certainly think is absolutely in the conversation as one of the best point guards at Wisconsin, but he never made a deep run. John Lure. You don't really talk about these guys because they did not deep run.
So if you're a historian, and I think you are, and someone who pays really close attention to the leaderboards and the stat, then your perspective might be a little bit different than mine. And maybe that just means that I don't follow it as closely, and that's fine. I can own up to that.
That's accurate.
I was going to say that's accurate. Zach Heilprin is here. What does Bielauskas transferring tell us? I
think that Wisconsin's tighter on money than maybe we thought going into this. We saw all the talk about the $12 million. If you're under $12 million, you're in trouble. The Big Ten coach that said that. Wisconsin's under $12 million. They're probably under 10. And so when you have to, you knew that you weren't going to be able to keep Blackwell and Winter, right? So Nolan Winter is the priority, and that's still not a guarantee at this point. But I think it's possible that some of the money that you may have to go to Nolan Winter is not allowing you to keep a guy like Bielauskas. Again, I don't know that to be an absolute fact at this point. It's more of just theorizing why a guy who started 28 games is no longer a part of this program. And I don't know that he was overly impressive. Like he's a guy that would have grown, but he started as a true freshman in the Big Ten, averaged 5 points, 4.5 rebounds, shot 34% from three. That's a guy you grow with. And Wisconsin was unable to keep him here. And I don't think it's a matter of them not wanting to keep him here. Like last year with Xavier Amos, where you were just kind of undercut him a little bit with the offer.
Okay. That's interesting. I guess I just wonder what that conversation was like. Like, does Bielauskas come to the office and is like, this is what I'm thinking? I guess in today's day and age, every player is entitled to something. And I guess my brain needs to catch up to that.
And I would also say it was probably not Bielauskas in that office. It was probably the person that represents Bielauskas in that office. Guys have agents. Guys have handlers.
And I saw that's big time.
And like you don't get from Lithuania to Madison, Wisconsin on your own.
I suppose.
Correct? Yeah.
I suppose that's a good point. Yeah. Gersh Sports. Damn. Well, good for Bielauskas, I guess. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Nolan Winter. I tweeted this earlier today. He reminds me a lot of a young Nolan Winter with a post game and a reliable 3-point jumper. But
it was a good shot, obviously. Nolan Winter is significantly more athletic than Alexis Bielauskas. Bielauskas much tougher than Nolan Winter in terms of being able to battle down low. I mean, Nolan Winter could not have played and started 28 games the way that Bielskis did this year. He was more of a spot player behind Steven Crowell that first year. He was a rotation player for sure, but it's not somebody you were going to count on at 220 pounds to play that way. Bielskis was much, much tougher. Now, again, Bielskis not as tall as Nolan Winter, but I would Nolan Winters is getting a bunch of offers, Grant. I know you're not as impressed with him as others are, but he's getting significant offers, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's offers that are greater than John Blackwell's getting.
Really?
Dude's 7'1". He averaged 13 and 8, 13 and 9 a game.
I know he had a bunch of doubles. That doesn't do that much for me. I like Nolan Winter. He's a fine player. My next question, so I'm glad you went this way. My next question was, I guess color me concerned. I like Greg Gard. Color me concerned if you're telling me moving forward their budget's shrinking and Nolan Winter has to be their best player. Like I don't think that's a good team.
No, I don't think the budget is shrinking. I think the budget is growing, but the cost of players is also going up.
Okay. So relatively it's shrinking. It's getting less effective, the budget they have, I guess.
Right. But let's also give Greg Gard and his staff plenty of credit for going out and finding AJ Storr, John Tonje, Nick Boyd, and bringing them in and them just getting better and better and better. Now he's got a lot to make up for. If we're being fair, they've lost 7 guys through graduation in the portal so far. And you think about essentially 4 starters right now with Blackwell and Boyd and Andrew Rohde and Bielskis, and then you lose Carrington and off the bench. So you've lost a lot. And you've already added to it a little bit with Owen Foxwell, who is from Australia and coming in, and another lefty, 6'1", 6'2". When you watch him on film, kind of looks a little bit like Nick Boyd. I don't know if he has the speed of Nick Boyd, but yeah, they've got a lot of work to do to fill this team out for sure.
So I again, their budget might be going up, as you say. I guess my concern is if other schools' budgets are going up at a faster pace, players cost more. The budget, even as it grows, might be less effective, which worries me. And they've done a great job finding guys in the portal. But like, what if Nick Boyd was, or Tonje? Like, what if one of those guys is just fine? Like the program looks different, and they weren't. So I'm not getting Greg Gard in trouble for something that he didn't do because those players were really good. But let's just say they hit a nice single or a ringing double instead of a home run in the portal with their one big, salary allotment. I just worry. That's all, Zach. That's all.
You should worry. You are the guy that puts out the Greg Gard gauge. I mean, if they have a single, then it's going to be a whole lot of fire Gard,
which
as opposed to tough night for the Greg Gard, the fire Greg Gard crew.
Zach Heilprin is here. Do you have 2 minutes to talk about Michigan really quickly?
I do. I
do. So here's my framing. I'm mature.
You've said that multiple times.
I realize that players get paid and that players move around. I understand that's how college basketball works. I got to admit, however, buying a brand new starting 5, that seems a bit much. You add a wing, you add a bench player. That's nice. That's shrewd roster management construction in this day and age. Just going out and burning money to buy a brand new starting 5, that I don't like that.
I mean, Wisconsin spent a whole bunch of money to get a new starting 3.
Not as much.
Pretty much. I mean, their bench was. I mean, the bench was portal as well. I mean, think about the guys that played against High Point. I think 2 of them started a career at Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's modern college basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have a problem with
starting 5, Zach.
I don't have a problem with it at all. It is what it is. My biggest issue, I don't care if players are getting played or paid. I don't care that players transfer. I care that players transfer multiple times. That is where I have a significant issue with it. And again, that would screw Wisconsin out of getting John Tonje, would screw them getting out of Nick Boyd. AJ Storr. Well, no, he was their second. Wisconsin was the second school for him, so they would have been okay with that. And they would have had him for another 2 years. I don't know if that would have been a good thing or a bad thing.
Probably.
But that's where my issue comes with. This to me isn't sustainable because then the budgets will continue to go up, and you're going to get it. Just is unrealistic to continue to have this increase. And we've seen it already in the tournament. That's why all those teams that were top 4 seeds or top 5 seeds all won their first game except for Wisconsin. It's because they're paying. They have put their money where their mouth is, and they've spent, and they've gotten all these younger players, these smaller school players, to come up and play for them.
Money well spent from Dusty May in Michigan, I suppose. Before I
Go
let
Big
you
Ten,
go,
right?
what? Yeah, sure.
I know.
Yeah, I would have rather seen Izzo. You know what I mean? I almost rather would have seen Purdue win it. And I don't like Matt Painter. I don't like Purdue. Michigan's gross. On the way out the door, the percentage of confidence that you have that Nolan Winter will be back, can you give me a number?
It was higher yesterday. I would say probably.
Is there a reason for that?
The fact that it hasn't been locked in yet is.
Well, they have to make the graphic, so that could take a little time.
Yeah, that's not what they're waiting for. Got to have the signature first before you can make the graphic. I would say 75.
Okay, still pretty good.
80? Yeah. I actually would have felt even better about it when I talked to Ebo this morning. It was just the fact that it still hasn't just been locked in yet is where the concern would be. But because the portal is now open, you've had this opportunity since January to lock this in like they did last year, and haven't done it yet. So.
Well, they'll be up a creek without their third best player from a team that got 5th place in the conference and didn't win a conference. Didn't win an NCAA tournament game. Yes.
What conference just won the national championship? What conference put 4 teams in the Elite 8?
Fair. I also don't think their final standing in the Big Ten was because of their inability to beat the best teams. It was because they couldn't beat the bad ones or the middling ones.
Couldn't beat the middling. Well, couldn't beat the USCs and the Oregons of the world. And those were not middling programs. Those were bad programs.
Oregon, another one.
I thought I said Oregon. What did I say? I said USC and Oregon?
USC, who cares? We're agreeing. These are details. Zach, I appreciate you. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you Thursday. We're running down the schedule of Thorson and Heilprin. We're getting near to the end. So I cherish these opportunities I have to come out and watch you and Ebo make radio magic in Sun Prairie.
Can't wait for it. I'll see you tomorrow, but I can't wait to see you on Thursday as well.
Excellent. Zach Heilprin, everyone. Round of applause. Thank you, Zach.
Later.
Zach Heilprin, our sports director. New episode of the Camp Up. So if you're like, Grant, spring ball's going on, why didn't you ask Zach about that? Well, because our time together flew by. I looked down and it was 4:50. I said, holy crap. So go listen to the camp. And Zach will be on with Bill tomorrow. Jesse Temple on with us tomorrow. So we'll hit a little football with Jesse as well. But the transfer portal being open, and I don't know, I feel worse about the prospects of Badger basketball moving forward. I still don't feel horrible, but I don't feel better. Appreciate Zach's time. We'll get back to the Brewers at 5 o'clock. I'll take a phone call right after the break. Stick around.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. Want to get a phone call in here before we break for Zach's update. Get back to the Brewers and a little Bucks in hour number 2, 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Second cousin Mike.
Hey, Mike. Mike, what's going on? Got about 2 minutes here. Oh, Mike, Mike, your connection is very bad, Mike. If you get in a better spot, just call me back. I can't even. You're not even coming through. So sorry about that. I assume, second cousin, that you want to continue our conversation about the Badgers. If you just missed Zach Heilprin's appearance, we talked a little bit about Michigan, and I can reiterate my take about Michigan winning the national title in hour number 2, but the Badgers part of it all. Blackwell's going to make more money, which we knew. He had a very difficult last year, which we knew. He wants to go compete at a place they can win deep in the tournament, which I think means his role needs to be smaller after watching him in the tournament the last 3 years. I also, Zach told us about Wisconsin's budget, about how it's going up, but they're going to have probably less money than we thought. So even though their budget's going up, their budget relative to other budgets and increasing player salaries might be less effective, which worries me. Here's the thing. Greg Gard's been hitting home runs in the portal for 3 or 4 years now. What happens if one of these years he only hits a double? You know? What if they only get a single? What if Nolan Winter's their best player next year? I like Nolan Winter. It seems that I'm being painted by Zach, and I've probably tweeted my way into this too. Well, Grant doesn't like Nolan Winter. No, I like Nolan Winter. When was the last time you watched Nolan Winter and walked away from that game saying, man, he took that thing over? Or when was the last time, if ever, that he did what Bielauskas did against Michigan, where he just canned 4 threes? Like, he got white hot and made a huge difference that way. He doesn't do that. I know he's a good defender, and physically, I think he applies himself very well for his size and his frame. But if he's their best player, I worry about their ceiling. He's going to make a lot of money. If he's back, which Zach said at this moment in time, he puts it about 75%, which is not bad, but it's not as close to 100 as I'd like. We'll get an update from Zach. 2 minutes. Come back on the other side. Back to Brewers and Red Sox. And I want to talk Bucks before 6 o'clock as well. Don't go anywhere.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are in Boston. It's where they're going to continue their series with the Red Sox tonight. Milwaukee took the opener last night, 8-6, rallying from an early deficit. But the story of the game was the renewal of a rivalry between the Brewers and Wilson Contreras. Longtime Cub has a significant history with Brewers when it comes to getting hit by a pitch. It happened again last night with Brandon Woodruff pitching inside, hitting it on the hand. Contreras said after that the next time he gets hit, he's going to take one of the Brewers out. For his part, Woodruff wasn't getting caught up in the drama.
It's, we've been through that. This is 9 years for me, and it seems like every year he's trying to play a game and he's trying to get his side fired up, which is fine. But once I knew what was going on, I wasn't going to let it affect me on the mound.
They got to meet the Brewers and Red Sox tonight. Jacob Mizrowski gets the ball for the Crew. He's 1-0 with a 2.45 ERA. The Red Sox counter with Garrett Crochet. He comes in 1-1 with a 3.27 ERA. First pitch is set for 5:45. Meanwhile, the Bucks are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets tonight. Tip there is at 6:30.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences has teamed up with UW Athletics to help promote eradicating cancer by preventing it, detecting it earlier, and guiding personalized treatment. The Exact Sciences Athletes Program is unique as it connects UW student athletes with Exact Sciences' work to provide breakthroughs in cancer care and treatment. Exact Sciences and UW Athletics helping raise cancer awareness to make a difference in the Madison community. Learn more at exactsciences.com.
Well, Wisconsin was back in the field for practice number 5 of spring this morning. Coach Luke Fickell said afterwards they're changing up the structure of spring, with Tuesday's practice being no pads, Thursdays with shoulder pads, and then full contact on Saturdays. And now we're just 16 days away from the NFL draft getting going in Pittsburgh. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Did he get him again? Yeah, he did. He hit him again.
6th.
For the 6th time, his brother comes out and walks him up the first base line. And again, there is history between the Red Sox, Contreras, and the Milwaukee Brewers that goes beyond all the hit batsmen.
Well, there's been a few of them that they've had altercations before when he's with St. Louis. Now Murph wants to know, but did the ball even hit him? Looked like it just barely got him on the hand. Contreras more reacting, just up and in. And listen, the guy's hit you 6 times in your career. Eventually, you're tired of it.
Dave Lewis done a great job. I mean, he's pitched for a really long time. I mean, we've seen that skit for the last 10 years. It's nothing new, not surprising. You just keep it rolling.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Hour number 2, the show tonight presented by In on the River in beautiful Trempealeau. InOnTheRiverWI.com, 608-534-7784. Great for some spring fishing if you're looking for a home base, somewhere to put the boat in and stay overnight for a long fishing weekend. The marina's right there, the river, lock and dam, and great food and beverage options around the Trempealeau Hotel and Sullivan Supper Club. Of course, maybe you can go hike at Pro State Park, golf, Trempealeau Mountain, El Morro, all in the area as things get greener. Those hills, those bluffs get so beautiful. Not to mention, I see all those pictures of the Great Alma fishing float and Trempealeau fishing float, the world's best fishing float down in Dresbach. Maybe you don't have a boat, but you're just looking to do some river fishing, some float jumping from place to place. In on the River would have you covered there as well. Perfect home base for that. So InOnTheRiverWI.com and like their Facebook page as well. In on the River Trempealeau. Let's get back to the Brewers. We got open phone line. Second cousin Mike, sorry, your connection. I don't know where you're calling from. It just wasn't coming in very clearly. So the number, 608-321-1670, if you'd like to join. That audio right there, a little bit from Wilson Contreras. One of my main points about the Brewers at the beginning of the show is I think on multiple levels, the Brewers were lucky to have Brandon Woodruff on the mound last night. I enjoyed almost none of last night's game. It was very stressful. I had a knot in my stomach. There was constant chaos and runners on the bases, and nothing felt easy and nothing felt clean, and it took forever, and then the Contreras drama, and then I got pissed. It was not an enjoyable game. But now I can take a step back and say it's that type of game where I'll take Brandon Woodruff, because even when he doesn't have his best stuff, and he did not last night, he just wasn't getting a lot of swing and miss. He was not missing bats. So a little bit of batted ball luck here, a lot of runners on. But Woodruff is a guy in that game who understands the assignment of, okay, there's runners on, and Contreras is doing his thing, and I'm going back out for the 4th, and now there's runners on, and he understood, okay, I can give up, as he did last night. What was his final line? 5 2/3, 7 hit, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 94 pitches. Brandon Woodruff, in the midst of all of that, is a seasoned enough pitcher, and a pitcher in that he's not just a thrower, he is a pitcher. He can recognize and realize, okay, I need to gut through this. I need to continue. Whereas, if Miz loads the bases in the 2nd on a hit by pitch, I don't know that Miz or Sprode or Harrison or one of these other guys, I don't know if they have the big picture wherewithal and the composure to say, okay, this is fine. Even if I give up 2 runs, we keep trudging on. I need to keep eating innings for this team and keeping this game close enough because the offense is eventually going to do their thing. And last night they did, in a very Brewers way. in the fourth inning. And I believe the fourth inning went thusly. I think I bookmarked the breakdown of exactly what happened. Give me 1 second. I think, again, if I scroll here, I can find it. Adam McKelvey tweeting. This is what happened in the fourth inning. Infield single, walk, sack bunt, walk, run scoring error, RBI infield single, RBI swinging bunt single, RBI walk on 4 pitches, double play. That was the fourth. That's how the Brewers scored runs. And then they put together an honest to goodness rally in the eighth, but it was a very Brewers offensive game. I think Brandon Woodruff, for multiple reasons, the Brewers were lucky to have Brandon Woodruff, the person, on the mound last night, even if as a pitcher, I don't think he was anything remarkable. But he did the job of pitcher, navigating innings, filling innings, getting outs, right? That sort of thing. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Yeah, it's Darnell.
Hey, Darnell, what's going on?
Hey, did last night kind of feel like playoffy?
Yes.
Maybe it was the cold, right? Like an October evening, and just everyone was all bundled up, and the feel, it was so tense.
It's very uncomfortable.
It was
I was uncomfortable the entire game.
Right. Just couldn't look away from it, but also didn't really want to watch it at the same time. It was like, I mean, I watched every second of it, especially after the whole Contreras thing went down. And is he just a D-bag? Is that just, has he always been just a douche?
Yes.
Okay.
You talk to Cubs people, I don't think a lot of his Cubs teammates liked him, and they won a World Series together back in 2016.
Right. And it's like, it was, first off, if it even hit him, it grazed him very lightly.
Yeah.
To the point where, that didn't hurt. Secondly, to he wanted something to blow up at. That was the whole point. He was ready to bark.
Trying to get his team fired up, which I get, and Brandon Woodruff talked about that too. It's just such a corny, lame way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the way that the Brewers won that one, I mean, perfectly the most Brewers way to win that one with all the infield stuff. I don't think they got it out of the infield in the fourth inning.
No,
I'm pretty sure
I wrote it down.
All infield.
They went 16 consecutive batters with the ball not leaving the infield up to that 3-run inning.
And they scored 8 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually eventually in the game they had balls leave the infield, but I think up until the moment they scored that 3rd run, they had 16 consecutive batters with the ball not leaving the infield.
That's great, but see, that's what you have to do to win in maybe not the best circumstances. If it's 40 degrees, I'm telling you, that's the last thing that I want to be doing is playing baseball. Seriously, it is not exactly enjoyable to be out there. Your hands hurt every time you make contact with the bat, with the ball. Fielding ground balls, catching fly balls. I mean, catching line drives is not fun. So to go out there and do what they did, given the circumstances that they're in, and honestly, Woody didn't have his best stuff, probably because it's so cold, and not being able to fully grip the ball when your fingers are cold. I was really impressed with what they did yesterday, even though they still gave up 6 runs and whatnot. But to go out there and get a W in really cold temperatures, and have to do the same thing tonight. So I was really impressed. I think that it left a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth, just because you're like, okay, is this Contreras thing gonna hang around the next 2 days? And are we gonna have to talk about this for a couple weeks because of the things that happened after that first game? I'm just hoping that things kind of stay mellow, I guess. The next couple of days.
Because I want things to stay status quo. Appreciate it, Darnell. I'm gonna let you go. Have a good night.
You too.
I want things to stay status quo. The Red Sox suck and the vibes are low. The Brewers are winning and the vibes are high. I don't need this nonsense. And I know a lot of people they should smoke Contreras with the ball tonight. Okay, maybe. It'll be good theater if they do, but that's kind of what Contreras wants. I think that benefits the Red Sox. I don't think that benefits the Brewers. I think the boring status quo is what benefits the Brewers. They're a better team. They have been all year. The vibes are better. They're better ran. They have a better identity. They execute better. I also think, Darnell, you're talking about gripping the baseball. Doesn't Brandon Woodruff have rain odds too? So that probably doesn't make pitching easier when it's colder. His stuff just also you know, he found some velocity later on in the game as he did in his first start. I believe. I'd have to go back and check. But for the most part, his stuff is not what it was. So he works around that the best he can. But if you're not getting as many strikeouts, you're a little bit more beholden to batted ball luck. And I think he had a little bit of bad batted ball luck in the first with that flare towards Sal Frelick, the flare down the line with Wilson Contreras, right? So, yeah, I think it's a very impressive win. It felt like a loss. And for the Red Sox, that had to feel like 2 losses. That's what I was thinking in the 5th or the 6th when the game's already been going for 2+ hours. I'm like, whoever wins this game, it will not feel like a win. And whichever team loses this game, it'll feel like 2 losses. That's I just had a knot in my stomach. So I'm with you, Darnell. I wouldn't go so far as to say it felt like a playoff game, but it felt like something greater than a random Monday night game in April. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Mike and Portage.
Hey, Mike, what's going on? A late evening appearance for you.
Yes. You know, I was going to say that the Brewers should start some tough reliever tonight and then beam Contreras because Mizorowski, you're losing a fight to pretty much anybody in Major League Baseball. But your comments just then about the theatrics and it being better for the Red Sox totally changed my mind.
I like the theatrics, Mike. It's entertaining. It's entertaining when my team wins. Like we wouldn't be talking about this the same way today had the Brewers lost yesterday.
It would be awesome if there was a big fight, but you know, as evil as say, I just want to be entertained.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm entertained by my team continuing to win and watching their opponents be depressed. The Cubs and the Red Sox and all these teams. Like that's what does it for me. That's just me. That's just me. I'm not telling you have to agree.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, we probably shouldn't be turned into D-bags like Contreras and beat him. He's gonna want that, so he can just keep whining and yakking and being a jerk, and we'll just keep winning. So
yeah, I appreciate it, Mike and Portage. Nice to chat.
Yep. You too.
Yeah, have a good one. Mike and Portage, a frequent early, but he's the cone roller to over the line. Let's hear him in the evening. Yeah, look, if you want to see a brawl, that's fine. That would be entertaining. I just think that benefits the Red Sox. I don't think that benefits the Brewers. It benefits the Brewers to show up tonight and to be 3 innings in and to feel like, here we go again. It's the same old Brewers. It's the same old Red Sox. I think Contreras wants to be hit. He wanted to be hit last night because he was trying to rally the troops. I don't want to let him do that. Does that make sense? Wisco Sports Show. Who's this? Let's do another.
Hey, Eric from East Bristol, first-time caller, I believe.
East Bristol, Connecticut?
No, it's near Sun Prairie.
Oh, okay. What's going on? What's going on, Eric? I was
Hey,
in Sun Prairie last night.
I apologize if this is a duplicative conversation about this whole Wilson Contreras business. But has anybody thought that maybe Wilson Contreras, when he was screaming at Woody last night?
Yes. Eric, you set that up so beautifully. Eric!
Yeah, how'd I do?
Sorry, no. You just dropped off. You were saying, did it occur to anyone when Wilson Contreras was screaming at Brandon Woodruff last night? And then you cut off. Repeat yourself.
Oh, that he was sending a message to tonight's starting pitcher to get under his skin maybe a little bit, because it's not that difficult to do.
To say, I'm coming. Absolutely. That's why my take back at 4:00 was, I'm glad Woodruff was on the mound last night and not Miz, who's probably more easily rattled or bent out of shape, or Uribe, who will fight anyone, or at least 2 years ago he did with Jose Siri or McGill. Like, I think Woodruff was the perfect guy to have on that mound, but I think the postgame press conferences to say, from Contreras to say, I'm coming, I'm going to take one of them out. I think absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that necessarily Miz is afraid of a fight with Contreras. I just think he's, maybe going to be a little bit uber self-conscious and, in his head a little bit. And maybe that was part of the whole point last night too. I don't know.
No, absolutely. I think it's a great point, Eric. Thank you for calling. Call back sometime.
Will do.
Eric in East Bristol. I was close to there last night. I went to run a Facebook Marketplace deal up on the north side of Sun Prairie. I was just looking at pictures. I think I was pretty darn close to you. Thanks for the call, Eric. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't think Miz is afraid of a fight. We talk about baseball fights. It's more of I run at you and then we get chest to chest. I also think it benefits the Brewers if Contreras gets thrown out. Contreras is pretty important to the Red Sox. He's very important to the Red Sox. They need his bat. So if he wants to get himself thrown out, that would be great. I would just rather this game be boring because a boring game benefits the Brewers more. They're a better baseball team. And I want to keep winning. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hi, Grant. This is Riley calling in from Michigan.
Hey, Riley. What's going on? Been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I've just kind of been digesting this Brewers season so far. I think I've come to the conclusion that might just be a good team.
The Brewers?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good this year.
I think that's a great conclusion. I think that's a terrific conclusion.
So I just wanted to make one comment. I think Mizorowski might be scared of a fight tonight. That's just a side note. I was gonna make a joke about keeping Garrett Mitchell out of the lineup just to protect them from Wilson Contreras. You probably don't want him getting hurt. But I feel like that's a little bit of low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I think that I'm pretty annoyed by this interleague play so far.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I understand. I guess I've read that they do this, Riley, because it's easier to make these games up. You know what I mean? Like, if they need to miss these games early in the year, it's more convenient for the makeup. Whereas it's I guess that has something to do with it. But 4 straight interleague series to start the season is something else.
Yeah, and they're coming to Detroit in 2 weeks, so I mean that's nice. I'll go to a game.
Hell yeah.
But I'm looking at this Fenway series, and it's been, game 1 was exciting, but I think I said this, that I find this almost more of a novelty of them playing in Fenway than I do actually feeling like it's a big baseball game.
Like Great American Ballpark. That's what's so funny is I agree with you, Riley, is when they play in Fenway, it's almost like growing up, it was a novelty. You know what I mean? Like I have memories of listening to a Brewers-Yankees game at Yankee Stadium when I was on a paddle boat when I was younger because I'm like, oh my God, they haven't played at Yankee Stadium forever. Now it's every other year. So this game feels like a novelty, but they're at Great American Ballpark and it feels like the biggest game in the world, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my big takeaway from this. I don't care about if they hit Contreras tonight. I'm just kind of enjoying watching a game at Fenway, and I feel like that's not exciting to me.
We're real baseball fans, Riley. Appreciate the call. Thanks for the time, man. Riley over in the state of Michigan. Real baseball fans. I don't need to see a fight. I understand it's easy. Oh, you should plunk them. Yeah, but I think that makes life more difficult for the Brewers tonight. A boring game benefits the Brewers. The status quo benefits the Brewers. There's a couple of you on hold. I promise we'll keep the Brewers conversation going, but you got to give me 3 minutes to take a break. We'll talk about the Bucks and some of the latest bombshell tidbits, very well sourced. There's like half a dozen team sources who are coming out and talking about Doc Rivers, which is hilarious. So we'll get to that later on in the show, but more of your Brewers calls next, right after this break.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
It's not just a hit by pitch. That's the 24th time that they hit me in my career, 24th. And that's the 6th time they hit me. And they always say, I'm not trying to hit you. That get old. So next time they hit me again, I'm going to take one of them out. That's what happened. That's a message.
Not even sure he hit him, and the pitch wasn't even that inside.
And if it hit him, it hit his little hand protector.
It's a pitch move by Contreras. And he has a meltdown about it, both in-game and post-game. Now, yesterday I was asking, why is it that we haven't heard from Wilson Contreras? Why is it that he goes 0 for 4 and he's not to be heard from? He's got nothing to say and he ducks the media. Oh, I know now. He's a clown. Yeah. Oh, I get it. He's a bozo. Yeah. He's Bozo the Clown. I'm gonna slide and that's why we didn't hear from him. Because the team is in a... They got good leaders. The team is in a total tailspin, and he's consumed. And I know he had a good night. He was their best hitter in the lineup and went 3 for 3, and he had a garbage time home run. He is consumed with this nonsense of a pitch that I don't think hit him, and he's ready to go into the clubhouse postgame, and he's ready to talk last night. They're 2-7 at this point, and it now loads the bases against a good opponent. And, okay, you get to first, cool down at first, and continue playing the game. But he couldn't. He loses his mind at first base. He's out at second. He goes back to the dugout, and he still won't shut up. Nope. Because he cares more about this stupidity than he does about his team sucking as much as they have. So that's why you didn't hear from Wilson Contreras over the weekend. And that's why Wilson Contreras is not going to be counted on to be a leader, because he isn't one. Yeah, but this is one of the guys you were pointing at, saying self-centered clown, 33-year-old child that they went and acquired in the offseason.
Little Boston radio. I'm keeping up that little side quest so far early this baseball season. I've been wanting to hear what they have to say about Caleb Durbin. So naturally this week, I want to hear what they're saying about the series, and I wanted to hear today what they had to say about Wilson Contreras. That was Zolak and Bertrand. That's middays on 98.5, The Sports Hub. Bitch move by Contreras. Scott Zolak. Right back to your phone calls. Thank you for sitting through the break. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
It's Brenda.
Hey, Brenda. Been a little bit. What's going on? Happy baseball
It has been a hot second. So I want to weigh in on this. I have a little different take on this whole thing.
Okay.
So I think he did this to get in the Miz's head. The first inside pitch he has, the first time he's up bat, he's leaning into the pitch so he can throw down to the Miz to get in his head even further for the rest of the game.
I think Contreras did what he did last night and probably said what he said after the game because he's a little bit of a diva and a dork, but also I think he's trying to fire his team up. He's trying to get some juice into the game. And
right.
I don't think Woodruff was going to take the cheese, but Miz might.
How can he fire him up even more? He's going to make it look like it was inside just enough, and it's going to hit him just enough that he's going to then go off. And this is his way to ignite his team. So he set it up perfectly. And if I'm right, we'll know tomorrow because I'm watching the game tonight. So we'll know. But I think that's the thing. And then did it feel like it was like a old Brewers scrimmage with all the old Brewers players on the Sox?
Yeah.
On Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, okay, is this like a Brewers, like, scrimmage? Or what are we doing here?
Yeah. I just, there's so much video, Brenda, of Contreras leaning in and using that elbow guard, which is fine. I think it's corny and I think it's obnoxious. and it's just a cheesy way to play baseball. But if you're going to do it, you can do it. Take your base. You can't throw a temper tantrum then. You know what I mean? Like that's always been his thing.
Yeah. And if your weak spot is being pitched inside, which it is for him, you're going to get pitched inside. So thus you're going to get hit by more pitches.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. That's always been the sweet spot. The weak spot is
there's
swing.
other players also that I can't think of the guy's name, but he always gets hit by pitches. He's constantly getting hit by pitches because he kind of crowds the plate, but they pitch him inside because he can't hit inside pitches.
Well, Durbin got hit a lot. Ricky Weeks got hit a lot. Some guys just they stand a little closer.
Right. They stand a little closer, and their weakness is the inside pitches. So guess what? They're going to pitch you inside. So you're going to get hit more often.
And this is excellent, Brenda. Appreciate your time. Thanks for the call, Brenda. Thanks for waiting.
You have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy Brewers Red Sox tonight. Yeah, Contreras is always, that's been the weakest spot in his swing, up and in. So you compensate with that. I wonder if Garrett Mitchell can compensate. Is there a way that he can hover above the strike zone? Or right on top of the strike zone? Could he bend his body into the shape of an L to compensate for that? I don't know. Might just be something to think about. Again, I think they were very lucky to have Woodruff out there last night and not Miz or somebody else. This is Woodruff on The Exchange. Question from Adam McCalvey.
Before as a group, how do you handle the emotion in the middle inning there?
What you're referencing?
The Wilson, the stuff with the Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, we've been through that. This is 9 years for me, and it seems like every year. Just he's trying to play a game, and he's trying to get his side fired up, which is fine. But once I knew what was going on, I wasn't going to let it affect me on the mound. I knew I had a job to do. I knew pitch count was still down, even though I'd given up a few runs, and I knew the bullpen was short, so I needed to go out there and just keep competing and just try to give some length there. So I was able to, get right back to pitching, and that's wasn't anything too big.
A couple of texts, 608-321-1670. Mike and Portage, Woodruff would have beat the S out of Wilson. Yeah, I don't know. Catchers are pretty big, strong guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. K. Schmidt in Oregon. As much as I'd love to see 100-mile-per-hour Miz fastball in Contreras' back, him being suspended for 10 games would be a nightmare. If they want to send Jake Woodford out there, fine. If it's anyone else, they're definitely not worth it. I mean, if Woodward wants to plunk him in the ninth, Woodford. If the other Woody, the lesser Woody, wants to plunk him in the ninth, I guess. I don't know. Guys, the Red Sox are in hell. This team is awful. Their fans are chanting, "Sell the team." It's April 7th. Just win. Trust me, they're miserable. Roman Anthony is talking about how this play is embarrassing and it's unacceptable. I cut this sound. Roman Anthony's their best player, young player. I believe in year 2. Had this to say yesterday. I cut this sound. This is Roman Anthony, their first week at Fenway. They're in hell. They don't need to hit Wilson Contreras to stick it to them more.
Yeah, you just continue to show up every day and, work your ass off and get in the video room and be prepared as you possibly can. And, no, I don't think that we're not doing that. I think this is just a tough stretch and we need to find a way to just bring more energy and just be better. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to the fans. It's unacceptable to the standard that we set for ourselves. So it's as simple as showing up and doing everything you possibly can, whether that be the night before or the day of, and just prepare as best as we can and kind of just feed off of each other and leave it up to the next guy and do everything you can to just find a way to execute pitches, do whatever you can to help the team win and to just win.
So they are depressed. They are sad. They're playing awful baseball. There's a chance of sell the team. I pulled this audio from Nesson, New England Sports Network, their broadcast the other night. You can hear the fans in the background.
To a hitter, man on third. Big part of the ballpark. He didn't try to pull this ball to left, hit it out of the park. Used a big part of the park, get in the air, get a run in.
You hear that?
So
it's the first week of the season. Well, first week of them being at home because they started on the road. The Red Sox are in hell. Just beat them. and they'll implode from the inside because no one likes Wilson Contreras, not even his teammates. His World Series winning teammates didn't like him. So just win the game. We don't need to go hitting Wilson Contreras with pitches. It's what he wants. Let's take a break. I want to talk a little bit about the Bucks on the other side because Shams Charania has got some good scratch today at ESPN. Some very interesting tidbits about what's going on with the Bucks. Very juicy, very salacious. I will share with you some of these stories that have been leaked out of the organization next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, appreciate you being here. Got about a half hour left. Want to get into the Bucks a little bit, not because they're interesting. Well, won't put it that way. Not because the basketball games are interesting. They have not been interesting in quite some time. The drama in the theater of Giannis and the Bucks and, their future together or lack thereof, that interests me greatly, especially when we have long exposés being written about all of the dysfunction and things going on behind the scenes. So I want to give you here a little audio of Shams Charania on ESPN this afternoon. It's just kind of funny, so we can react together. This is the first cut I saved, talking about Giannis having 1 foot in and 1 foot out all year, and an interesting anecdote about Doc Rivers. And you'll notice in here that the specific anecdote about Doc Rivers he's reporting was confirmed by 6 locker room sources. Meaning almost half of the active Bucks roster was like, yeah, what? Yeah, you heard that? Oh, yeah, that's true. I'll tell you more. 6 sources.
So, Malika, one source with the team told me this week and really summed it up. When your best player is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're just not going to win. That tension bleeds over to the environment of the team, the culture of the team, and most importantly, the levers and misalignment across the organization. You think about your ownership group, your management, your coaches, and your players. It bleeds into all of that. And one specific example where we saw that from the coach and the player dynamic was the most critical point in the Bucks calendar. That was the first week of March, Malika. And that's when Bucks had a string of games where they had to win these games. It was make or break to make the play-in tournament, which they had sold to Giannis. We're going to get to the playoffs and make some noise. And on March 1, they lost in Chicago, a double-digit.
Remember, I got to jump in. The weekend he's describing was really the last weekend we talked about the Bucks basketball games on the show. That was right as Giannis was getting ready to come back. Giannis, I believe, came back on Monday night. And in the 2 games leading up to that, they got blown out by like 25, 26, 27 points, which at the time I pointed out, I was like, okay, well, this thing isn't going to work. It's rotten. Because your best player, who arguably is the key to maybe doing something in the playoffs, should you be able to get there, is coming back, and that's when everything falls off the table? Like, they're cooked. So that, remember we talked about that? That's the stretch of games that Shams is describing here.
Lead, it ended up being a blowout defeat. Then comes March 2. It was a game of a back-to-back against the Boston Celtics. Doc Rivers called for a team meeting that day. And the day of the game, this team meeting, my understanding is in that meeting, Doc Rivers implored his team, according to 6 people in the room, to look at my resume and, quote, Google me. I took teams to the playoffs and championship that weren't supposed to be there. I thought this was one of them. That was not well received internally.
So I'm laughing because, so again, you got to understand the situation in the context in which this happened. Giannis is about to come back. And if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen now. And in my mind, Giannis's return should be an extra shot in the arm to everybody who's playing. Like, oh, Giannis is coming. We got that little bit of extra juice tonight. We got that little bit of extra motivation. Giannis is coming. He's coming back. And I would imagine this extends to the coach, where the coach is like, all right, do or die. Giannis's return, if it's not happening now, it's not going to happen at all. And Doc Rivers, in the film session or in the meeting at this penultimate moment in the season, his grand idea, his Herb Brooks moment, I gotta have a speech. This is my moment. His grand idea was to tell the team to Google him like he's Kurt Signetti. By the way, the team that's been playing for him, it's not like he just is. It's not like he's arriving and he's introducing himself to the team. He's been there coaching these guys, some of them for going on, this is the third year. And his, again, grand idea, the best pitch, the best thing that he could have, his version of Herb Brooks's "Tonight we skate with them and we shut them down because we can." That moment, that Doc Rivers' version of that was Google me. This dude, I have said from the beginning on Doc Rivers, guys, if nothing else, he is funny and we will get entertainment from this. I said that the first week he was introduced. I said, you know what? It's probably not going to work, but you know what? Chances are no coach they're going to bring in is going to work, and at least Doc Rivers is going to make us laugh. And here we are in what I expect to be his final week as a coach. He's still making us laugh.
My understanding is in that meeting, Doc Rivers implored his team, according to 6 people in the room, to look at my resume and, quote, Google me. I took teams to the playoffs and championship that weren't supposed to be there. I thought this was one of them. That was not well received internally.
I know that the Bucks are falling apart from the inside out, but guys, that's absolutely hilarious. That's Doc's best pitch. He's like, how do I dial it up if it's now or never? This is when a coach has to have their best. And Doc is like, hey, everyone, Google me. We're like, Doc, we've played for you for 3 years. We know you. What do you mean Google me? This is so funny to me. Here's a little bit more from Shams. Another story from inside the Bucks organization.
March 21st, they had a game in Phoenix. There was a shoot around that day. And my understanding is there was another team meeting, but this only had the veteran players in it. Right. The coaches and the veteran players. So the Giannis of the world, the Bobby Portis's, Kyle Kuzma's, Miles Turner, Taurean Prince, etc. And in that meeting, Doc Rivers, one by one, addresses each player, gives them feedback. Taurean Prince, Kyle Kuzma, gets to Miles Turner. And that's when multiple people in the room told me that Doc Rivers let Miles Turner know that he felt disappointed in Turner's play, that he expected more this season. And as the group started to exit the meeting was wrapping up. Giannis and Bobby were not addressed in that meeting. They're the 2 long-standing players on the Bucks. So as everyone's starting to move away, they both speak up. They both address the group. So Bobby Portis speaks up, but Giannis particularly, he's been at the focus of all of this.
Right.
In front of the coaches, in front of everyone. He stands to support Kyle Kuzma and Taurean Prince. And Miles Turner specifically telling him, listen, I let you down. It's my fault I wasn't healthy. I wasn't able to be there for you. I'm not disappointing you. It's on me. I should have been there for you and been available. And that, again, shows what the message was from the coach and what the message is from the star player, and clearly a disconnect internally there.
I think Shams messed up a name. Like, did Miles Turner say I wasn't available for you, Giannis? That would make sense. Giannis wasn't the one available. So Shams is not great at this whole speaking coherently on television thing. Here's the last thing from Shams. But on Kyle Kuzma, in his story, and I'm reading this from an aggregation account, so sorry, but I'll just read you the tweet. During a film session, Doc Rivers called out Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. for their selfish play style, and Kuzma spoke up and stood for his teammates. Doc Rivers and his coaching staff then disciplined him by giving him a DNP the very next game. Remember that? And the reason that's funny is they're the 2 primary ball handlers. If Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. aren't handling the ball, then Doc Rivers, I'm not sure who is supposed to. Do you want Miles Turner to bring the ball up the floor? Bobby Portis? Jericho Sims? Jericho Sims can't dribble. Jericho Sims don't dribble. You know what that reminded me of is lions swimming for tuna. Lions don't like water. Jericho Sims can't dribble. Like, what? So then they bench Kyle Kuzma and give him a DNP. Oh my God. Here's one thing, the last piece of audio I cut from Sham saying how a breakup is essentially inevitable. And this is what I want to spend more time actually seriously talking about, not just laughing at.
Everyone at the highest levels around the Bucks, you think about ownership on down, believes there's an inevitability to what this is and a trade this offseason. Based on where the Bucks are at with all this, based on where Giannis Antetokounmpo has clearly been at with this. The past, in a lot of ways, has set up the present. And in 2020 and in 2023, when Giannis signed his contract extensions, sources on both sides told me there was a gentleman's agreement, a promise of sorts, that if the time ever came that Giannis was ready for a trade, ownership and management would work collaboratively to assist that. And so you think about when these requests started last May, these around Giannis looked at unfulfilled promises. So fast forward to 2 weeks before the deadline, Giannis, his agent, meet with Jimmy Haslam and Wes Edens 2 weeks before the deadline and say, hey, we're ready, do right by Giannis. They do engage with teams. There's conversations that are had. There's one team and one offer that the Bucks seriously considered in the final hours at the NBA trade deadline. That's the Miami Heat. That's an offer on Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, other players, multiple first-round picks, multiple swaps. The Bucks obviously chose not to do that deal. My understanding is ownership believed there would be better for them in the offseason. It's best to wait on this decision until the summer. As I talked to teams that were involved in this at the deadline, like Minnesota and Golden State and Miami, etc., there were a dozen or so teams. They do believe those same comparable offers, if not better, slightly, will be there for the Bucks this offseason. So I'm not worried about that part of it if I'm Milwaukee. But Giannis will have 1 year left on his deal, and that does give him significant leverage in terms of how much a team is willing to give up if he's not ready and willing to extend.
Okay. So just a little background there again from Shams. So I've had my suspicions about how this went down, and I reached out to some people today just for background. I didn't want anything specific, but I'm like, hey, am I reading this situation correctly? Here's what I think happened. I think Giannis wanted to be, on some level, traded this last offseason. I think they came out of last year. Damian Lillard pops his Achilles. It's a nightmare. And in that moment, we all thought, yeah, that's probably it. Giannis is probably going to move on. And we were right. I think on some level, obviously short of publicly demanding a trade, Giannis wanted to be moved. And I think the Bucks explored and looked around, probably didn't clearly loved what they were seeing. And they dragged their feet and they said, oh, Giannis, we're looking. And probably behind closed doors, the Bucks were thinking, well, if we pull something off, maybe we can convince him. Stall. So the Bucks are stalling into the summer. And I don't doubt, and this was reported by Windhorst and others, that they came close to maybe a deal with the Knicks, but it never really went through. Maybe for lots of reasons. Maybe the Bucks really didn't want to do it. And again, Giannis has stopped short of doing the full throttle public trade request. And if at any point he did that, maybe he would have been dealt. Maybe that's what's been needed to push this thing over the top. Because I think the Bucks up until this point they've looked at deals and they've even come close to deals according to reporting, of which I believe. I know there's a level of skepticism from some Bucks fans. But I think the Bucks were going to force Giannis to publicly demand a trade. And Giannis never did. So then they get close to the season and then they add Miles Turner. And I think, again, on some level, and that's a phrase that I keep repeating because it's true and it's accurate. I think on some level, the Bucks got Giannis to commit for another year and say, okay. I think the Bucks got Giannis to say, okay, I'll try it with Miles Turner. I'll try it with Ryan Rollins. I'll try it with this roster. We'll see where it goes. And the Bucks took that as, all right, Giannis is bought in for the year. And Giannis' side, as Shams reported there, wanted from the Bucks. It's like, okay, well, we'll commit here, but if at any point we're not happy, we need to be able to ask out, and you'll give us that flexibility. And I think the Bucks are like, okay, sure. It's not like you can put something like that into writing. I think both sides went into this last year kind of in the form of a shotgun wedding. Like Giannis really wasn't all the way in. The Bucks weren't really all the way in on maybe some of the promises that they had made to Giannis, because you can't just pick up everything and trade him in the middle of December if that's what Giannis asks for, at least realistically. I mean, come on. And I think now both sides are probably so sick of each other, and the Bucks are probably so sick and ready to be done with him, because the Bucks probably feel like, Giannis, you committed to this year. You got a month in and you got cold feet, and then you spent the whole year moping. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, which made it impossible for us to have a basketball season. So the Bucks probably feel, look, Giannis, if you would have been all in physically and spiritually this year, even if you miss games, if you would have been all in, we could have built some positive momentum with our young players. We could have built some positive momentum to this offseason where we actually have assets, where we actually have picks. So the Bucks are probably thinking, Giannis, if you would approach this year differently, we could be in a different spot right now. But you got 3 weeks in to a season you committed to, and you got pissy, and the whole thing never got off the ground because you've been 1 foot in, 1 foot out, gaslighting the local media, gaslighting the local fans, all the while behind the scenes with your agency working to build yourself a life raft and try to position yourself to get out of here. Which, again, it's not a crime for Giannis to want to leave, but the Bucks probably feel like if you were never intent on being here anyways, why the hell did you commit to come back? Because everyone wasted a year, which is the worst case scenario for everybody. So this breakup is inevitable. It should be inevitable. So that's my take on this, the way I see it. I think the Bucks probably feel like Giannis operated in bad faith this last year, and Giannis probably feels the same. Which, again, life lesson to be learned. If you're ever like, should I break up with that person? You probably should. Lesson for Giannis and lesson for the Bucks. But Giannis is the way hotter girl, and the Bucks are the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, they're not going to trade him unless Giannis forces them to, and he did not. So lesson learned to Giannis. You wasted a year of your career and sunk the Buck season in the meantime. One more segment here. A couple more thoughts on the Brewers. 608-321-1670. Your calls, and we'll wrap things up next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Everyone at the highest levels around the Bucks, you think about ownership on down, believes there's an inevitability to what this is and a trade this offseason. Based on where the Bucks are at with all this, based on where Giannis Antetokounmpo has clearly been at with this. The past, in a lot of ways, has set up the present. And in 2020 and in 2023, when Giannis signed his contract extensions, sources on both sides told me there was a gentleman's agreement, a promise of sorts, that if the time ever came that Giannis was ready for a trade, ownership and management would work collaboratively to assist that. And so you think about when these requests started last May, these around Giannis looked at unfulfilled promises. So fast forward to 2 weeks before the deadline, Giannis, his agent, meet with Jimmy Haslam and Wes Edens 2 weeks before the deadline and say, hey, we're ready, do right by Giannis. They do engage with teams. There's conversations that are had. There's one team and one offer that the Bucks seriously considered in the final hours at the NBA trade deadline. That's the Miami Heat. That's an offer on Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, other players, multiple first-round picks, multiple swaps. The Bucks obviously chose not to do that deal. My understanding is ownership believed there would be better for them in the offseason. It's best to wait on this decision until the summer. As I talked to teams that were involved in this at the deadline, like Minnesota and Golden State and Miami, etc., there were a dozen or so teams. They do believe those same comparable offers, if not better, slightly, will be there for the Bucks this offseason. So I'm not worried about that part of it if I'm Milwaukee. But Giannis will have 1 year left on his deal, and that does give him significant leverage in terms of how much a team is willing to give up if he's not ready and willing to extend.
Okay.
What a mess. I just think Giannis feels like the Bucks didn't hold up their end of the deal because they didn't trade him when he first wanted. And the Bucks probably feel like Giannis didn't hold up his end of the deal because they're probably thinking, well, no, you never demanded a trade publicly. You agreed to play this year, and then you got a month in and you decided you didn't want to be here anymore. So I think the Bucks are ready to trade him. And the first sign of that, publicly at least, should have been the ownership's sit down. They had multiple front office people sit down with Ramona Shelburne, go on the record, albeit not a ton of quotes on the record. Right, I think Justin pointed this out last time he was on. They talked for like an hour and a half, and there was like 10 quotes in the whole story, not even, which is funny. But I think the Bucks wanted it out there. You're extending or we're trading you, and we're going to do it at the beginning of the offseason, not at the end. This isn't going to be we'll see what we can do, and then you decide. And I think part of that was just we were going to publicly draw a line in the sand, mostly because we're just ready to trade you, man. That's what this feels like. And it's probably best for all parties. And I'm not going to hold it against Giannis a ton. I wish this last year would have gone differently, but that's probably just as much the fault of the Bucks it is Giannis. I think both parties are guilty in kind of how this last year went. So I'm not just blaming Giannis. And if they handle it well this offseason, he goes somewhere else, I'm not going to hold too much resentment. I might not hold any resentment against him. Although I think this last year was messy, but what are you going to do? I guess it was just 1 year. So if they move on this offseason and it's amicable, I'm not going to hold any resentment towards him. We can continue this tomorrow. Jim Ozarski is going to be on with Bill tomorrow, as will Zach Heilprin and as will Rob Reichel to talk Packers draft. So everyone, we can reconvene then or at 6 for Over the Line with Ebo. Why not? Enjoy the Brewers and the Red Sox tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.